Welcome to Tutorial 7 in Atlantic Chase. I got a comment on one of my other YouTube channels, and he remarked that he was really impressed with the tutorial scenarios in this. He'd never seen tutorials that were so playable on their own, and I have to agree. And in fact, when I rehearse these, I always want to rehearse them so I know a little bit what's going to happen when I go to film it, because I mostly do just improv, but I like to, try it out first just to see how everything fits together. And I found myself, I'd play a scenario and says, "Oh, that was neat. Let me set it up again and see if I can do something a little different." So yeah, these are great tutorials, and I'm seeing that a little more in war games too. Like where's that? Hang on. There it is. Mark Herman, Pericles. He has a number of kind of story vignettes to help teach the game. I'm seeing that a lot more in war games, which is a good thing. I come from a teenager in the 80s playing those old Avalon Hill bookcase games. And I remember they just give you a rule book that looks like the Code of Criminal Law for New York. And in 3-point font. So you're just sitting there just staring at it like that. So it's really good. It seems like we're really starting to see kind of changes in how we learn these things. And this is how this all got started when I started filming these. As I was looking on a forum for some war game, I don't remember what, but one guy was lamenting. He said, you look at Euro games or family games and things like that, and you can always find a learn to play on those. But war games, you hardly ever see anything. You'll see guys do after action reports and things like that, but you never really see, here's how this works in here. Let's put it all together and see what we can do. And so I said, I'll give it a crack. We'll see what we can do. So I hope some people seem to have said they're enjoying this. So keep doing it, because I do like it. I like these tutorials. They're actually pretty interesting. Speaking of which, let's get on with number 7 here, and this is called Rescue. And let's read it. October 1939. Operating off the Horns Reef, the British submarine Spearfish, right there, suffers mechanical problems and can no longer dive. Admiral Forbes dispatches the 2nd Cruiser Squadron to escort it back to Rosyth or Methil, covered by battle cruisers. Well, the battle cruisers is down here. I got 4 of them. There's three regulars and 1 light. The Aurora, the Southampton, the Sheffield, and the Glasgow. Also, up here we have the Hood and the Repulse battle cruisers. And down here we have the Germans, and that is the Gneisenau and the Köln, the battle cruiser and a light cruiser. And they're going to try to, their object is to interdict, or I think so. I got a whole bot here that tells us we're going to be the British. And can you even see it? Yeah, whether it, no you can't. Oh well, I don't feel like moving this camera around too much, but the weather is bad. Starts out bad. British have the initiative, and we're using this little inset map right here. And I just posted a question about this little airfield here. I remember saying it in another video. What is this? Is it a little island or something? Hopefully somebody gets back to me, because I'm not sure what that is. It's not on the operations map. So maybe someone who's in the know can tell us. Anyway, let's see. There's a special rule here. Remember from a previous video, we talked about reorganizing. We can merge task forces. Now, normally a submarine is not a moving part in this game. U-boats and submarines, they're part of stealth attacks, but they're not part of the whole trajectory stuff, except in this scenario. So basically, the idea is these guys will trajectory over, link up with the submarine, and join the task force and try to get complete into port, and that's technically winning the scenario. The other end, let's see. The other thing we're going to learn about here in this one is the engage action. The engage action is how we bring task forces into battle and duke it out. So we're getting close. It's not going to happen in this one. We only do the engage action. We don't actually do the battle. So we're still a few scenarios out before somebody actually fires a gun in anger. And let's see what else is in here. Or when the British task force and submarine force successfully completes, that ends. It ends with an engage action if we're able to successfully bring the Germans to battle. The third way is if a German task force station is in the hex with a British submarine force and that submarine force is on the map and not in a task force, then the episode ends and we got the little flavor text of what happens there. All right, so, we're also going to do the rules here. We're going to do coordination when we get two task forces kind of working together. And there's a little trick with that, and it's something I missed and I just saw it on the forums. Very handy thing I'll try to remember as we go along here. But first, it's the British. And I'm the British, and what am I going to do? I think the first thing we're going to do is make a run at this fleet. Special rule for this scenario is Bletchley Park already has intel on this task force, the Gneisenau, and the Colne. We got intel on them, so we can do what's called a signals action on them. You might remember that from a previous video, but anyway. I'm going to start with some trajectories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I go in here, there's an air base, so guess what's going to happen to me? That's right. Intel marker on me. Okay, that does not give up the initiative. Now, the other task force. And I think as far as winning in scenario-wise, my smartest bet is to get over here, bring this into the task force. Now remember, I have to be a station to be able to do that, and then shoot back. But for the purposes of learning, I think I want to get into coordination here. So I'm actually going to go in here. That's going to put an intel on me as well. And let's do some, all right, where's an intel marker? Hold on. There we go. Okay. That was 2 trajectory actions. And now, everybody's in the same hex here. I want to try to engage him. I'm going to try the engage. What I need to do first, you can only engage, that's the important rule, only engage a station if he's a station. I can be a trajectory with the engage action, but he has to be a station for this to work. So I declare an engage action on him. No, wait a minute. First I want to do a signals action. I got to get him to a station first. Sorry. X that. Let me get station up here. Signals action. And that just goes off without a hitch because we have an intel marker on it. We can only do signals actions on trajectories with an intel mark. And there we go. And remember, the intel mark goes away because intel markers cannot be on a station. So that happens. However, now the Germans get to try to seize initiative. Oh, wait a minute. We time-lapse. Wait a minute. Let me think. Time lapse. 1 active task force in the target hex. It can be either one of these for this action. Not all of them are like that. Okay, so let's time lapse. I'm going to time lapse this one, I think. Okay. Yep. Switch dice. It's bad weather. We roll a dice for bad weather, and that will time lapse him. And now the Germans get to seize initiative. They do not seize the initiative on a 7. They need a 9. We go over here. Can you see that in the shot? Yes. It goes up to +1. We get to keep going. Now we want to do our engage action. The problem is we have intel markers. Let me go ahead and designate the main task force. I'm going to call that the main task force. And we're going to call this the coordinating task force. And basically, he's going to help us with this engage. And you do have to have a segment in the target hex that he's going after. And we even have one for engage. I mean, these are nice little things to track who's doing what to whom. We're engaging this. And now the question is, does he get to invoke coordination? Oh, the only thing I could do is air support, but it's bad weather. And you cannot do any kind of air stuff when there's bad weather. Good one to keep in mind. He does, however, get to interrupt, because both of these, I wonder if it's, that's a good question. Interruption. Yeah. Is this in the shot? Yes, it is. Interruption table. Number of intel markers, 2. 1, 2. So he's going to roll for interruption. And there's no modifiers to this. And it's an 8 on the 2 column. Slip. Oh, actually, I'm glad it came up slip, because that one is causing a lot of confusion. Well, not a lot of confusion, but some confusion. What happens here is, let me double check this. Yeah, I got my little map here of common results. So where's slip? Oh, slip's down here. Action canceled. The inactive player may either perform a signals action or attach an evasive maneuvers action to the target TF. After making this choice, players vie for initiatives. Action canceled. When they say action canceled, you'll look at the, let me get the engage action in the thing. This whole action is canceled after this interruption here. That includes this time lapse that they were supposed to do. They are not even going to be able to time lapse because of getting that slip result. Now, what will the Germans do? Whenever you successfully give the slip, and it's a question of whether you want to do the signals action or the, well, wait a minute, let me double check. Let me just make sure there's something not scenario specific. No, I don't see anything scenario specific. So what that means is it's going to roll a die. 1 through 4 means they'll take the signals action. 5 through 6 means they'll take an evasive maneuvers marker. They're going to take an evasive maneuvers marker. One of these. And we're going to attach it to the task force. They are, when you earn them, they go to the task force that's being targeted. Now, having done that, the Germans vie for initiative. And they do get this tally result. So here's the British die, here's the German die. You're going to roll a dice, higher guy wins. Tie, but +1 here. And the Germans are going to take the initiative. And like I said, they don't get time lapse because of the slip action. I believe that's correct. I've seen that. That was actually highlighted on the forums, and the designer came on and said something about that. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I'm pretty sure I remember it that way. Anyway, German time. First, we check the weather. German time. Hammerzeit. 2, weather stays the same. And now we roll for, which is bad. The weather is bad. And we're going to roll on the German action table under the bad column. And I hope you don't mind that I'm not showing you the actual table for that. I'll just read it to you as we go. 4 is an end result. A naval search? Seriously? Yeah, the bot's not always going to do the smartest thing, I think. I think you'd want to, well, no. Well, this might be all right. Hang on. German task force performs a trajectory action. Add new trajectory segments to form the most direct route to the nearest British trajectory segment or station. And that hex becomes the target hex. More than one hex is nearest, choose one. The German task force already has a segment or station in the target hex. Skip ahead to 2. Okay, now here's another question I brought up on the forums. Hope the designer will chime in. Is chipping away at the very ends of these, is kind of a suboptimal move, because if you get that early or late result, you just give them an evasive maneuvers marker. I mean, you'll still remove that segment, but we'll go ahead and do it just like this. We're going to target either that one or that one. Let's leave it. We'll leave it to the chance cube. Here we go. 1 to 3. This guy. Yeah, I'm going to target this guy. And where's my German targeting task force? Navy search. We're going to go here. Just to remind us, we're still in bad weather, so we cannot use any air support with this. He can, however. Well, let me double check that. So we need to get a trajectory total here. And the trajectory total is, here's the target one. We're 0. We have 0 segments. And plus the target task force, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also the target player, he could, if he wanted to, coordinate, but I don't think he's going to, because that actually deducts from him, and we want to keep ourselves not. Well, no, this is fine. We're not going to coordinate there. I cannot coordinate with air because of bad weather. So we're just going to roll on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 column on the naval search box over here. Is there any, let's see, interruptions? Sorry, go through all these. No, there's no interruption because we do no longer have an intel marker on us. Should we? No, we shouldn't. Okay. An 8 on the 6 column, which amounts to shadowing. Shadowing says remove all but 3 of the target's trajectory segments. The active removes the segments, but the segment in the target space may not be removed. If the trajectory has only 3 or few segments to begin with, none are removed, and the target trajectory earns an evasive maneuvers marker. So we have no choice. We have to remove these 3 because we cannot remove that one according to the rules. 1, 2, 3. So we did our naval search action. And now that allows, that gives us time lapse. We're already a station and there's nobody else out there, so that's not going to do anything. And now me as the British get to try to seize the initiative. Nope. And now we go to the red side over here and move that up 1, and the Germans get to go again. Maintaining the initiative, we roll on the bad weather chart for the Germans. 6. Ooh. Pass, really? Okay. The Germans perform a pass action, which does absolutely nothing. There's time lapse, which is meaningless, and it's automatically going to switch hands. Now you do, because it switched hands, this will go back to 0, even though we didn't seize initiative or anything like that, or roll again on the thing. That could, because it changed hands, it goes to 0 automatically. So it's us. What are we going to do? You know what? I think I'm going to wave off trying to coordinate here. So my first action, I think we're going to try to get on this sub. And to do that, we are going to extend the trajectory. Like so. Oh wait, that's the wrong guy. This guy. There's nothing strange in there, so we don't get an intel marker. That's just extending the trajectory, so we keep the initiative. And oh, the nice thing is, even though I extended that trajectory, I still can coordinate because I have a trajectory in the, yeah, you can do more than one thing. Even though it looks like we're going here, we're not really going there. This is me in Intelligence HQ saying, I got radio contact says they're doing X and X. Let me plot it on here and see how it goes. I can still coordinate, and the question is, do I really want to? Let me think. I don't think I do, because that means 2 intel markers, and that means the second column, which is actually pretty significant, quite frankly. So I think I want to try an engage action here, but only doing it on the 1 column. We do have an intel marker, so we declare an engage action. This means the Germans get to try to interrupt again. And here we go on this chart with no modifiers. Oh my gosh. 11. V for I, vie for initiative, right off the bat. And once again, as far as I can tell with the rules, this is canceling the entire action. This interruption and cancel the entire action, including the time lapse. And now it comes down to vying for initiative. There's no... It's just a straight die roll. Higher wins. Germans win it. Okay. Whether the initiative changes hands, we check for weather. It does change. It goes back to good weather. And now, what are they going to do? 5. This is another naval search action. Okay. I can do either one. Oh, you know what? I like this one. Even though I should probably randomize it, this one makes sense, because if I get an early-late thing, I can punch a hole right there and really change it up. So we're actually going to declare, he's going to declare a naval search. And there's his target. All right. Naval search, trajectory, 0 + 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 4 column. Oh, it's good weather. Good weather. Hang on. Yes, let's get some air support in for this Navy search. And we get this little, can you see that? Launch marker. And we always want to put the origin of the launch marker, because the modifier depends on the range. So if you're like, say if you're coming from this base, it's like +3 if the segment was in here, and then it goes to +2, and then +1, and then you can't go past that. So we're right in the square. The airfeed's right in the square, so that's going to be a +3 to the die roll. So 0 + 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The intel marker doesn't do anything. Oh, drop my dice. Rolling on the 4 column with a +3 to the die roll. 10, 11, 12, 13. We go over to our naval search. On the 4 night, we get a skirmish. And this is turned into a station in the target hex. Like so. Now this is effectively the result of almost like an engage action. This is going to end the scenario. We've gotten a battle. I mean, a skirmish is a 1-turn battle, but it invokes the end where. Oh, wait a minute. That's an interesting conundrum. The episode concludes when an engage action results in a battle, or when the British task force and the submarine force successfully completes. That's interesting, because we rolled a skirmish, and we don't play the battle. We don't play the skirmish. Do we just ignore it and keep on going? I'm not sure. Wait, I made a mistake. Okay. Skirmish. A skirmish result. Same as contact, but if the active task force is faster than the target, the active player may initiate a limited battle. The Gneisenau and the Köln are not faster than the cruisers, so we cannot invoke a limited battle. What this is contact. Okay, all right, that makes more sense. Okay, right there. Now, that was the naval search. And what happens is time lapse for us, which is nothing. I mean, for the Germans, which is nothing. This goes away. We're done with that. And now we, as the British, can try to seize initiative. Yeah. 9, we do it. We take the initiative. I'm gonna roll for the weather. Weather remains good. Okay, what should we do? We're gonna take a stab at linking up with this submarine. So we'll start with trajectory action. First thing that happens is this goes like this. The contact marker stays, and because there's an airbase in that square, and a station, you're going to get hit with an intel marker and a contact marker. Like so. That is the end of the trajectory action. And I think I'm going to go ahead and just pass here. And what that's going to do, we're going to do it with it. We're going to use this as the active. And these both go away. Because this is where the station is going to be. And we have passed to the Germans. And they roll for weather. Weather stays the same. And we roll for their action. Our 5 on the good weather table is another naval search. That leaves this. This is you don't do a naval search on a station. Of course, we can still, like last time, we can invoke air support now that the weather is good. This will be our target hex. And, once again, I got to ask about, it seems like it would be better to like slice at this, because if I get the early or late result, I can pull that one out and then grab whichever one I want. And it won't end up giving him an evasive maneuvers marker. But, we'll just go with what it's telling us. And we're going to roll with 1, 2, 3 plus 0 and a plus 3 on the die roll. 10, 11, 12, 13. Again, that's going to be contact, or skirmish actually, but it's going to be just contact because we're the same speed fleets. And you'll be a station too. So, station. And contact. That was our naval search. Now we are going to try to take the initiative, I believe. Let me double check my chart. These charts are really good for kind of keeping track. Seven, we don't do it. The Germans maintain the initiative. And now, we roll for their action. 2. 2 on their chart is a T, trajectory action. Okay. The trajectory action has us going for the spearfish. So we need to do that. Now, here we go. Of course, the moment we do that, we are in a space with a station that is going to generate intel on the Germans. And then they're going to go right here. That is also in a space with a station, enemy station, and that will also generate an intel. So we've done that. Step 2, the Germans do the following, depending on the state of the spearfish. The task force is in a task force. No, not in a task force. We're going to pass. And by passing, it's good weather, and it's going to be an automatic removal. And boom. Uh-oh. I think that might be the end of it. If a German task force station is in the hex with the British... Stop. Here's a big edit. I just went back and reviewed this thing, and I saw the huge error I made. Huge, huge error that does not, the game should not have ended there. If you want, you can pause and rewind the last minute and see if you can spot the error. In fact, I was thinking about maybe I should just edit out the mistake and just like, but I said, no, this is how we learn. So let's see the error. We were at this point, and it was time for the Germans to pass. And I just went zoop, and no, I cannot do that. We have intel, and when we do intel, we have intel, and you want to remove intel, you have to invoke intel limit. And intel limit, now an intel limit does allow you to remove 2, but the rule is in a time lapse, you can only remove 1 intel marker in there. So what the Germans would have done, they can only remove 1. They probably, I'm almost certain they would have just removed that one. And now he's in here. The game is not over because we are not a station, or the Germans are not a station in with me. So we're going to go on from there. That is a very important rule. Intel limit. Never forget it. In fact, a while back when we were messing with my British force, I did a pass. It was actually a correct pass, but I didn't say anything about time limit. Intel limit, and I should have said I'm invoking intel limit. And I mean, but that wasn't wrong. It actually ended up being right. I just didn't underline it or anything that you could go with it. Okay, so we did. Let's keep going. The Germans do their pass. Initiative changes to the British. British roll for the weather. The weather does change back to bad. Okay, no air support for you, among other things. Okay, now, what should we do? And I think we are a station in with this submarine, so what we're going to do is our reorganize action. And all that's going to do is pop our submarine into this task force, and it's over here on the side. I'm not going to show the screen. Okay, reorganize. We've merged. And now we need to get back home. We have not given up the initiative when you reorganize. So we're going to trajectory. And we do not get an intel marker because that is a trajectory, not a station. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to avoid this airbase. We don't want intel. 4. I need more seconds. Come over here. Auxiliary table. I will say this game does have a little bit of a footprint. It's not too bad. I got it on it. This is on just a standard card table, folding card table. But I got a little side table over here where I keep the counter tray. And finally there. Ooh, is that 7? Oh, that's the wrong guy. That's right. It doesn't really matter. No, that's 6. Trajectory does not give up the initiative. So the most sensible thing to do here is try to complete. And we're going to do our completion action. Let me get my chart. We can look at it. Okay. All right. No intel markers are on it. We're on the 6 limit. One of our trajectories is in a port, so we can do it. The inactive player does get a chance to seize the initiative. He needs a 9. And he has no modifier. Oh, that should have gone to a 0, by the way, because it did change hands. They do not do it. Completion. We bring the submarine safely home. Task Force with submarine successfully completed. Admiral Forbes reads the message that the spearfish was returned safely. One less thing to worry about. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of material. This is a half-an-hour video long. If you spotted any other errors on the big one I caught, please chime in and we'll see, because that was a lot of stuff I was doing, and it's possible I might have missed something else. Oh, I did want to mention just one thing when we're talking about these. Here, let's set up a little thing here. These coordinations, and we had the other task. Where are you guys? We had this guy down here, kind of doing this or something. and we were both naval searching for that guy. Now, this is the main force, the active task force, doing a naval search on this, and I'm designating this as the coordinating task force. Now, the first thing the coordinating task force does is give you a bonus on the die roll, but the other thing it does, and this is one of those little subtleties you have to look in the game for, and you need to use it to your advantage in the strategy. So it's getting into the deep strategy here, is naval search. And you get to the end here, time lapse. All designated TFs except the target TFs. That means anybody I put in here. So both of these will do the time lapse. That's an important key there. That's everything, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.